Get a slate.
Clap.
Okay.
That can be your thumbnail or your
Believe me,
intro.
I was thinking about it.
Hello, my name is Casey, and I am the co-founder, director of photography, producer, all-around jack-of-all-trades guy for Sassy Mares Productions, and most recently, the Waking Nightmare series. Probably my most terrifying experience with sleep paralysis happened when I was younger, sleeping on the couch, and it was like I was basically sinking into the couch, which I think even when I was like a little kid, I had that fear of like getting like smothered by couch cushions for some reason. Like I would build like forts out of the cushions and kind of like dig myself inside of them, and then realize that I'm kind of claustrophobic, still am. And in this particular instance of sleep paralysis, I'm like sinking into the couch. Not actually sinking, obviously, but like that feeling where I was like kind of like I was asleep, waking up, and I was like kind of already like kind of wedged in just from having slept, and just like that feeling like I can't move, I can't get out of the couch. So yeah, that's probably my first and most horrifying instance of sleep paralysis. I think going into the project, I was kind of like mainly focused on making it seem like not having it too stylized, because it's like, well, we can, horror definitely lends itself to like these very harsh, like dark, dreary, like contrasting light, and you don't see much there. There's definitely like like a lot of camera obscura and like that sort of aesthetic. What we wanted to go for here was more or less like what the real world looks like it could actually happen to you, and I wanted to evoke what people actually experience, because when when you have sleep paralysis, it's you're not in like a Victorian mansion surrounded by like dolls and horror tropes like that. It's like you're in your own home. It's just kind of like everyday sort of experience. Probably one of the bigger influences on that kind of style was like Ari Aster and his cinematographer. He has a one DP that he uses for all of his projects, and what I love about the way that they shoot films is that it can get stylized for sure, but a lot of it is just sort of making things feel eerie and scary, like in just like regular daylight, or it looks like in the daytime in someone's house, with no lights on, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest challenge, was because like honestly I feel like it's easier to make something highly stylized than it is to just make something sort of plain and like commercial in a way, like that's like a very like interesting aesthetic in its own. It's just make something look natural, like there's no, like you're not actually lighting something. I would say probably my favorite looking of the 5 is probably Michelle's, just because of how much light. I mean, yeah, there's obviously other reasons why I think it looks cool, but the way the light kind of just drapes over her face, and it just like it's evocative of just like a very like nice morning where you wake up with the sunlight, and very comforting looking, even though her face obviously is not expressing that feeling at all. Again, like going back to making something seem scary in the daylight, which is kind of like an oxymoron or something in a way, and it's generally not how you would shoot horror films. So I think that one's probably my favorite, as like far as like achieving that aesthetic that we were just talking about. I think my proudest was probably the sinking clown sort of fun house thing that we achieved with Ben's sink. It was just something that we were like, how do we do this easy, let's just have 5 people grab some sheets and like, you know, pull them up, and it's like it's just like a practical effect that, you know, works, and it was very simple, and it wasn't like, you know, covered in CG or anything like that. We kind of had like this motif in every episode of the like flat, straight on, like top down close up of the dreamer, and it's like super simple and isn't like extremely interesting technically, but what I find interesting about it is that it's evocative, like how you feel while having sleep paralysis. And that was also something that we tried to do throughout the series, is to kind of not overshoot, not have too much movement with the camera. You know, we just wanted to keep it locked and like tight and like, sort of claustrophobic, and that's sort of what I was going for with that top-down shot in every episode, was that we want to feel like the viewer is also locked in with the dreamer, you know, so they can kind of like get that sense of like claustrophobia and isolation in a way, where it's just like there's really not much else going on in the frame other than the emotion on their face, and you're really just like dialed in to their like how they're feeling, which I think is, you know, very unsettling, which is a good thing for film. So So what I think is interesting about the Waking Nightmare series is that the entire premise of the series was that we were taking actual dreams and actual experiences from people and, you know, dramatizing them and recreating them on film. And, you know, going forward for like a season 2 or whatever it is that we plan on doing, is that, you know, this is supposed to be something that we can expand to more people. Like we can have more people give us their experiences and have an open dialogue with, you know, the community, and try to just get more like viewer involvement into like how these are made, because we could just think of like the craziest, weirdest, most surreal dream scenarios that we can. I mean, that's easy, but we want actual people's dreams. We want people to like see what they see in real life on film. And I think that, you know, because these films are not like super stylized in what you would like traditionally call horror, we're not like gatekeeping anyone either with these. Like they're a bit more accessible to most people. I think that horror usually gets a sort of a bad rap, and when it comes to like, you know, the Academy Awards or something, is that there's just something like there's like a formula that Hollywood uses to like promote movies like that, even if like they're not even really that scary or anything, but like, you know, they just try to like find those moments that are like, you see, it's a horror film, jump scare, that sort of thing. We're really just trying to create like an atmosphere for people to latch onto and just, you know, resonate with, you know.